Morning folks, please excuse the noisy lambing field going on. It's well, it's all been busy the last week, hence why I haven't really slept much. Today it's all about the high voltage cables. There's a lot that run over the top of all the barns which frankly are not doing anything. They don't go anywhere. They go through the neighbours' trees, they go all the way up to the top and then they come back down again because the route that they used to go is not needed anymore. So when I spoke to Western Power, or now National Grid, about removing them, they agreed that they don't need to be there, they don't go anywhere, and actually it's just infrastructure that should be removed, which is a result because it's very costly to make any amendments to overhead or underground high voltage cables. So what the original idea was is to carry it on all the way up to where the cabin is now, and then it would come back down again. But it then dawned on me that it kind of goes through the neighbours' gardens and all the way up there just to come back down again. Could we just cut the corner and just go across our own field post to post? Post to post would be from that one there, overhead, probably with new poles, to this one here, and then it goes off down the hedge line. And when I spoke to them about that, they seemed to agree as well, which was a good start. And then I said, well, any chance we can just put it underground? So they've been here a few times to plan things out, peg things out. I've now dashed the line out, Craig's here, to dig it out, because I've only got a little mini digger on hire here and he's got a bigger machine, and also we've only got a day to do it. So we've come 1.2 meters away from the fence here, and that means we can easily map it so that in the future we always know that that is there. So rather than going as the crow flies, we know that, you know, the hedge is always going to be here, the fence will probably always be here, so that is a good datum to work from. It also happens that Craig has a trencher for his Avon, and that is basically like a big chainsaw, leaves a really nice neat hole, and it's a relatively quick way to go. It only digs 900 deep, and most of them only go 900 deep. The spec for this cable is 1 meter. So, and there was no real way of following up with a digger afterwards, so therefore we just got to be dug. And we just got to make sure no sheep fall in it overnight. So this stake here is where a new pole is going to go. They're going to auger it between the fence and the hedge, which is nice, keeps it out of the field, and there'll be this little section here to dig in. A metre is a deep trench, eh? You wouldn't want to fall down there. I'm walking backwards by a trench, it's a bad idea. It's a big old hole, isn't it? Now you'll notice it's really even along the bottom here and even depth, and that's because Craig's got a iDig, I think it's called, which basically you use the bucket, I think is the datum point, tap it on the ground before you start digging, and then when it gets to depth it'll tell you. So I think we've probably gone 1.1 meters or something like that, so it's perfect for what they need. I bet they'll never have seen a trench this clean. So after about 5 meters, we realised that it might be possible to scrape off the top level of grass, the turf, and put it to one side. That way when I backfill, I can potentially slide those back across, and it just means less reseeding. I'll overseed the whole lot anyway, and we'll roll it all in and make sure it's going to grow back fine. But for the time being, we're going to try and keep those slabs of grass to one side, and then Craig just works all the way down. So I left him to it for this part of the day, and then I managed to catch up with him around lunchtime to ask him a little bit about how that clever iDig system worked.
Mr. Ill.
I'm feeling poorly. I don't feel poorly when I come out, it's when I sit down. God, I mean, if anything fell down there, it's not coming out quick, is it? You need to leave a ramped end just in case.
So, like, if a sheep just drops straight, its little legs are just going to be going.
Yeah, it's going to be running.
It can't do anything, it'll just be wedged in.
Is this the
Yeah,
iDig?
My second person, because I'm a man down today.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I'm joking.
So it replaces the need for a stick in the ground?
Yeah.
Why do you need two?
So there's 3. So basically they're all sensors. One, so they're very clever. There's batteries in them, but they charge from the sun. So
I was going to say, it looks like a solar panel.
They've got little solar panels on them. And the 3 connect, so there's one down on the bucket hitch, there's one on the arm, and there's one on the boom, and then the 3, it basically creates your triangle.
Telemetry stuff, yeah.
And then there's one under the cab.
So
seat,
so it's just working out depth.
It's
just working out depth.
Working out depth.
Yeah.
You can do slopes and all sorts with it, but yeah, it's and then so literally you can calibrate it. You can use it with a laser, or you can just calibrate it from the ground that you're. So literally, touch the edge of the bucket on the ground that you're. For instance, with this, so the ground is 0, and then you want to dig.
But you touch it there, and then you have to press something.
And then you just reset it.
Tear it like a scale.
Yeah. Every time you move the machine, you reset what your 0 point is.
Yeah.
So, whereas if you were doing something a bit more specific, you could set up a laser, and then the sensor that's on the arm, you could just pick up the laser every single time. So if it was more to do with the level that you were digging, but the existing level was irrelevant, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Then you could use a laser, and then you're always picking up 0 from anywhere, as long as you can see the laser.
One data point, yeah.
Whereas obviously with this, it's.
And what it screams at you when you're at the right depth.
Yeah.
The only problem is when I put that in there, it's going to be about twice as high, isn't it? I'll be stamping it down. I took a photo and I put it on Instagram, and it looks like the sort of thing you put in your garden to bury a pipe or something. Yeah, that's deep.
But you're only short, so.
Well, yeah. I'm pretty sure they'll be happy with this, won't they? Okay. So I think we'll carry on with this episode, because the guys turned up to lay the cables and they brought a transit, which wasn't particularly suitable, especially after yesterday's weather. So with 4 of us, a trailer and a tractor, we've managed to finally get the drum of high voltage cable out into the field. But rather than use their winch, we're going to see if we can attach it to the tractor and then drive it down the field. I don't know how fast they wanted me to go, but we'll take it steady. There's 120 odd metres. It's quite clever. It's got one of those sort of Mexican finger trap type things that sits over the cable and pulls it tight. A super strong one on each of the 3 phases, I guess, and then you pull them and it self-tightens. We made it to the end, as you can see, because we had to go straight with the tractor. The cable's gone as the crow flies, and I'm gonna guess that's a pretty weighty cable. Somehow, Craig and I have ended up digging a hole whilst the guys polish their van or something down there. It's just a bit of a collapse here. Anyway, it's ready to go in, and then we can fill it. We can stop things like this falling in it. Watch out, Maggie. Apart from that bit, I think the rest of it is it's basically like we've dug our own canal here. Right, after all of our shenanigans getting that trailer with the drum through the gate, it's got to go back up now. So I'm going to go and put the bucket on the tractor and backfill that section. So with a project like this, usually the National Grid use a contractor to come in and lay the cable ahead of their team coming in to do the actual work. So that's what this day was all about. We just had to assist. Usually they use a winch one end and they pull it off. Anyway, with the cable in, it's ready for the team. They're going to be here for a full week. I have filmed a little bit during the process, but of course there's a lot of red tape and PR and all sorts going on. There was, on occasion, 12 to 15 vehicles on the farm. It was a crazy amount of work and impressive to watch. However, there is a little bit I can share, and I'll be doing that in a future video. For now, the cable is in, and if I jump forward a few days, mid-install, we can start the backfill. Busy day out on all the work that's been going on the power lines. My job this evening is very brief, but I've just got to put about 300-400 mil backfill back into that trench so that we can get the warning ticker tape stuff down in the trench, and also they can start testing it tomorrow, because I don't think they can test it and they overcharge it, so they put something like 15,000 volts down it to test for leaks. Well, that's what they said, leaks. I guess you get leaks. Not the sort of leak I would want to be messed around with. I think this bucket should be alright. We'll just shovel it in at a bucket at a time. So we just need to put a load of backfill in here and it should be alright. Then I can get the warning tape in and Bob's your uncle. I'm pretty sure it's only me that ends up with a banksman who's kind of dancing like she's in a musical, or bankswoman. Actually, she's done a great job of being able to tell me how much was covered. So there's a few bits where we dumped in a bit too much, but we're about 300 mil, which is all we needed. I'll smooth it out a little bit, tamp it down, and then I'll get that tape put in first thing in the morning. One of the guys is going to bring me some, they've got some big 200 mil wide warning tape, but that's job done. As we head back up towards the buildings, let me show you what's coming down. So you can see over here we've got 3 spans, 3 pylons, all that overhead, all of that's coming out, and the bit that runs over. It's going to be a huge difference once that's down. We can fly our kites. So I'm just going to carry on this way. I'll see how I go with this bucket. This bucket is not a grading bucket, it's a digging bucket, so it's not ideal. I can tidy up the last bit with either the blade or the tractor, but I'm guessing that this will let me get the bucket in and push down.